If you are someone whose back pain feels like a band of back pain across the lower back, either on one side or both, feels like it sits at the top of that hip, or it feels like it's in your glute or down the side of your hip, you may genuinely be experiencing referred pain that's coming from somewhere else. And in my 20 years as a physiotherapist who's treated thousands of people with low back pain, this presentation is consistently misdiagnosed and misunderstood completely unnecessarily. So my hope is that a video like this will hopefully give you a chance to change your perspective on what your symptoms may actually mean for you, where you may actually need to be treating yourself to get that pain to go away, then obviously what you should be thinking of to make this pain go away and stay away forever. So if this is you, let's figure out what might actually be going on behind the scenes. G'day, welcome back to the channel. My name's Grant Frost and I'm an Australian musculoskeletal physiotherapist who is genuinely passionate about trying to figure out the root underlying causes of the common aches, pains and injuries that I see day to day clinically. And as I mentioned before, this type of presentation of back pain is by far the most misdiagnosed and misunderstood pain that I would see. And I feel compelled to make a video like this in the hope that it gets out to as many people as possible to ultimately try and change the narrative and our understanding about what this type of back pain actually means. And while we're absolutely going to get to a really simple exercise to treat this pain, and we're going to talk about why this pain likely develops in the first place, we first need to explain why this is so misdiagnosed. And ultimately, the reason for all of this frustration for you as a person stems from the fact that this band of back pain or pain that sits on top of the hip or goes down to the side of your hip is often a consequence of relatively hidden lower thoracic dysfunction. Clinically, that base of the rib cage a little bit higher and a little bit lower, when the joints or the tissues become stiffer, tighter, overloaded and potentially irritated, when we look at the dermatome distribution, its referral pattern is across the lower back and down into the side of that hip. For those unaware, dermatomes are essentially leftover fetal connections that develop in the womb. If we look at a dermatome distribution like this one, what this basically represents are where each individual level of the spine can refer to. Not only can they refer pain, but they can almost short circuit and play havoc with the areas that they connect with if there is some segmental spinal dysfunction at those levels. For example, that T10, T11, T12, L1 kind of distribution almost gives us a perfect roadmap to understand why a band of pain or pain in one area along the course of that distribution may exist in the first place. You genuinely do not have to have back pain in those areas. All you need is overloaded, irritated tissue to the point where it can express itself somewhere else. And this is vitally important to understand because one of the gripes that I have with my industry, health and medicine in general, is that as soon as you tell someone where your pain is, we naturally and intuitively narrow our focus to where that pain is to look for clues as to what might be causing that pain. And on a surface level, that makes perfect sense. It's very reasonable. But ultimately, what we also need to do is we need to do a deep dive on where your pain is because you may be injured or damaged there, especially if you've copped some direct trauma or if there is some local dysfunction that's developed, weakness, tightness, injury, or damage. But if we don't also take a step back and have a look at the part of the back that can refer or control that part of your body, then we may never fully realize the bigger picture of what's going on. And even if there are local consequences there, like an injury or damage, then we may never actually realize why it became injured and damaged when it shouldn't. But if we do take that step back and go looking for that more broader, less obvious dysfunction and treat that as well as any local symptoms that may have developed, we then have a recipe to understand how to completely solve this long term. I actually had someone the other day who'd had the same hip replaced 3 times over the last 15 years because they'd been getting this lateral hip pain. And they were just so frustrated and bewildered because they kept being told that their hip was in good nick. But yet they still had this really debilitating lateral hip pain that no one had been able to explain. But if someone had just taken the time to take a step back and look at the base of that ribcage area, they would have found that it was stiff, tight and restricted. And when we mobilized and freed that up, the hip pain immediately improved. So if you are someone who feels that your pain fits into that distribution, let's show you how to figure out exactly where it may be coming from to see if you fit into this category. So as always, before we get into diagnosing and hopefully treating this for you, we want to base everything that we do on results. I don't want you to have to trust me. I don't want you to have to take a leap of faith. We just want to factually figure out whether your lower back pain is coming from higher up in your back. And the best way that I found to do that is before you do anything, stand up, walk around, do the things that you need to do to let you know how your back feels. Maybe arch backwards, bend forwards, bend from side to side. Do something that you know alerts you to those symptoms, something that's reproducible, because we're going to come back after doing this to see if anything has magically changed. Because if it has, then you may be yet another person who didn't realize their lower back pain was coming from another part of their back. But the way that we want to do this is if you can grab a ball or a foam roller. As always, it doesn't matter which one you choose, just choose the one that you feel gives you the best effect and helps you understand this the best. What we're looking for is we want to place that ball or the roller, start at the base of your rib cage, just arbitrarily. You don't have to be perfect. We're not looking for the level, we're looking for the dysfunction. So if you place the ball or the roller right in the middle of that back at the base of that rib cage and let it roll off to one side. Or if you're on the roller, just sort of tilt your body a little bit more to bias one side. And then we want to get you to lie down. You can definitely do this in standing or sitting as well if it's more convenient for you. But what I want you to do is with the bumps down the middle, ball just off to the side, we want to be on the soft tissue, but we also want to be influencing the joint tissue underneath. Just know that we're not here to roll around and give you a massage. We're trying to influence the joints of your spine. And as a patient so eloquently put it to me the other day, the joints of your spine are kind of like piano keys, where you need to put pressure down through the joint to affect it. If you're rolling over the top of it, you're never really getting down into the joint to affect change at that joint. But what we're looking for is right versus left. We're trying to find which joints in your back feel stiffer, thicker, tighter, more restricted, more dense. It may or may not be more tender than the other side. So where you are to start with, just get a general sense of how the ball or the roller sinks in, then immediately roll it across or roll your body across to the other side and compare. Remember, we're not chasing tenderness as much as we are restriction and stiffness, because this part of your back may not actually hurt. But once you figure out which side to you feels the most restricted, and for me, it's always my left-hand side, all I want you to do is just let the ball just gently press in, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever you feel comfortable doing. Take a couple of protracted breaths, like a full breath out, just to prompt your nervous system to down-regulate, hopefully prompt it to free up that little bit faster. And all I want you to do is just systematically work the ball up or down a little bit and go chasing anything that you feel is relevant to this discussion. Interestingly, if you do put the ball in a part of your back in this area and you do feel that your symptoms down lower increase or decrease, then you may have just found the spot that you need to work on to positively influence your lower back pain. But once you spent however long you feel you need to just systematically working up and down those areas, you can come out a bit wider if you need to as well. We then immediately want you to stand up and do the exact same movements or activities that you did beforehand to see if anything has changed. And as I mentioned briefly before, this could be huge for your ability to solve this problem. Clinically, the days of just looking at where your symptoms are should be over. We should always be respecting where your symptoms are, but if you aren't looking almost a hand's width higher than where your symptoms are, you could be missing the bigger picture. So I genuinely mean this. If you have this lower back pain presentation, give this a go and immediately let me know in the comments down below what you found. But like everything that we do on the channel, the final thing that we need to talk about is why is this part of your spine dysfunctional in the first place? Because if we don't treat that and improve on that, then again, it's hard for us to expect this to permanently go away forever. So if you've been a follower of the channel, you'll know where we're about to go with this. And while I feel like I've developed a really healthy understanding of why people's backs get sore in these areas, we still need to make sure that we make this information specific to you so you can figure out exactly where you might need to get better relative to someone else. And for me as a clinician, how I like to go through this with my patients, if we're looking to understand why a specific part of your back has become stiff, tight, and dysfunctional, specifically on one side more than the other, a great place to start looking for clues is with the things that you spend the most time doing throughout your day. So if you were to sit down and write a list of all the activities and things that you would do over the course of a week, and you were to rank them from the things you spend the most time doing to the things you spend the least time doing, naturally the best place to start is the things that you spend the most time doing. But just to jump ahead, clinically what I find is that it isn't the active, interesting things that tend to cause this dysfunction. Instead, it's the passive, sedentary, typically the sitting-based shapes, mainly because that's often the most consistent theme of what we do with our body throughout the day. Driving, sitting at a desk, sitting on the couch at the end of the day. When we look at the shapes and positions that you might be defaulting into, if we know that this part of your back is genuinely linked to your symptoms, because when you treat it, your symptoms get better, then it's very likely that there is a shape, a position, or a posture that you consistently get into without realizing it, we may be unknowingly hinging through that part of your back. And what we know is that mechanically, where the hinge goes is where that increase in load is directed through. And the challenge with this modern world of ours is we're often left in this position and distracted from that while we're doing something that we would typically do. So unfortunately, one of the most important things to consider when trying to solve most lower back pain that comes from the base of that rib cage is that we may never get you there 100% if we don't also annoy you about trying to be in better positions day to day. Obviously, if you don't have to sit, if you can progress from a sitting station to a standing desk, you can get up and move around a lot more. If you can just sit less, even better. But if you're forced to sit and you don't have a choice, we want you to be in the best position possible so you're loading your tissue as optimally and evenly as possible and not individually isolating sections of your back and asking them to become stiff, tight, and restricted and eventually irritated enough to refer pain lower down. You may need to roll up a towel, put that into your lower back to support that position. You might need to lift your chair up or lift your desk up or change your environment to prompt you into this position more than drag you out of that position. And for me, clinically, if you can't improve something about your environment and how you load up your back day to day, it can be just that little bit more difficult to get through this and past this forever. And all the core strength and all the trunk muscle strength and glute strength and hip stretches and fancy surgeries and injections that you do may only ever be as good as your day-to-day shapes and postures allow them to be. So if that was genuinely helpful for you, please let me know in the comments down below. Please share this video to anyone that you think might benefit from watching it. Hit the hype button to hopefully do the same. If you enjoyed this type of content, please let me know by leaving a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want more of this type of content from me. Please even consider becoming a member for more exclusive content and extended versions of a lot of the videos that I put out. But if there's one thing that I know about low back pain is that a lot of you are experiencing that lower back pain completely unnecessarily, despite your best intentions, because we're not necessarily giving you the perspective to understand where you might need to look to understand why that is there in the first place. So I genuinely hope that that was helpful. Good luck calming things down and hope to see you next time.